Wait, here we go! My favorite. I know you'll like this story, little Teddy. It's a special one, very close to my heart.
Hey everyone, Damiani here, joined by Bradley Ellis. How's it going,
Yo.
dude?
It's going good, man.
We are going to be talking about Ari and the Secret of Seasons, an upcoming game coming out on September 1st. It is a 3D action adventure game being developed by, I believe it is pronounced Exine. It's Exiin with the X capitalized. It is a Belgian studio. This is an indie game. We had a chance to play a preview build of this. It was divided, to give everyone a bit of context, it's divided into two parts. There was a intro part, which let us play the beginning of the game through a key story point. But maybe it was like an hour or two of gameplay there. And then the second part just skipped ahead to a later dungeon, and we got to play a full dungeon. This game is, we just said, is a 3D action adventure game. It is kind of best described as a mix between more the older 3D style of Zelda games, like Wind Waker era Zelda, meets elements, I would say, like Spyro type, those types of 3D platformers a little bit. It's like a mishmash, a mix-up of that, I guess, is the best way to describe this in a one-sentence description. But this game, like, I'm finding it, the reason I'm like struggling to talk here is because I didn't have the great, there's a lot about this I liked, there was a lot I didn't like, and I was worried about being too harsh on this game because, again, it is an indie game. It won't be full price when it comes out. Apparently, it's only going to be $29.99, I believe. It's not full price, but at the same time, there was so much potential here, and I feel it doesn't come close to realizing that potential. Some good ideas, but it's very flawed execution is the best way I could describe my experience with this game. And I don't know if you felt a little bit like that or not, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, when I played it, I was like, oh, this game needs some more time to be polished up and stuff. But he told me it's coming out in a month. I was like, oh. Like, the combat in this game is not good. Like, I like the idea of it. They go for a good idea of, you know, your typical lock-on, dodging, and parrying stuff. But it didn't really feel good to fight anyone. It felt kind of messy. And like, the parry, I felt like it was almost impossible to miss. Like, the parry window was so damn huge, I didn't even feel like I'd ever miss it.
The combat definitely needs some work, for sure. My biggest complaint, besides what you just described, is that nothing felt like it had any impact or weight to it. You'd be hitting the enemies, and they wouldn't react or move. There'd be grunts or noises, but it just felt... I don't know, like
the animations are super basic and everything like that. When you kill a guy, it doesn't really feel like you're killing something.
There wasn't a lot of variety to the combat either. It was just either parry or just swing away. For the most part. I mean, it is early on, so there might be more to it later, but what they presented didn't showcase anything that was terribly intricate.
I don't think they ever give you even a really reason to fight anything, except if you have to clear an area or something like that. I found myself just kind of skipping fights. I was like, I don't really want to do this.
I mean, that's a sign of how... Yeah, it's... I would say it's not its highlight, and I want to back up really quick. We gave an overview of what the game is, what type of game this is, but let's give a little bit of a setting for it here.
Sure, yeah.
You're basically you're this young girl named Ariel, basically, and you're part of a family who are the guardians of one of the 4 seasons of this world. This world, the seasons keep everything in balance, and each region of the world is ruled or influenced by one of the 4 seasons. Part of the world you start off with is winter, basically. So you are the guardians of winter. But a tragedy befell your family recently. Your brother, who is next in line to become the next guardian of winter, has gone missing. Believed to have perished at the hands of monsters while out on a excursion or some scouting, whatever they were doing, out playing or something. They found their wooden sword, and they think maybe he's still alive, but they're not sure. But he is missing, and the father is just grief-stricken, just very sick, and there's a summons to go to the temple of the seasons with the other three, council members. And initially, your mom's like, we can't answer the call because only your dad can, and he's not well, and your brother's missing. So what do you decide to do? You've had enough of being told you can't do stuff because you're a girl. One of your first early quests is to present yourself as your brother. You pass yourself off as your brother, and then go off on this adventure to answer the summons and help restore balance to the world, essentially. And on that note, on the premise of that in the world, with like the seasons being like thrown out of alignment, it is to me a 3D attempt at like Oracle of Seasons. Like
I was thinking of Oracle Seasons.
I was thinking of Oracle Seasons. I'm like, this is what a 3D Oracle Seasons might be like, and I was very excited about that. And even despite the things that don't go well with this game, like this execution not being there, conceptually, I think they have something really good here.
Yeah.
And as we'll get deeper into it, there's more to it than just the theme. Your abilities revolve around the use of seasons, and solving a lot of puzzles and traversal stuff is tied to that. It's really good stuff, just buggy and not polished, unfortunately. I feel like it's basically the potential of it. And again, you start off in your village. It's like this, it's like a lot of the game derives its visual style and maybe a little bit of its mythology from Eastern Asian cultures. There's definitely a lot of that going on there. So I almost felt an Avatar: Last Airbender vibe with the style of the world, for sure.
Yeah, I was just thinking about some of the quests in this game.
Okay, yeah.
That you do in it. I don't know if I'm jumping too far ahead, but because you brought up the village, the's
quests in the first village,
yeah. There's side quests in this game, and they're so nothing, I guess, most for what it is. Like one of them, the first one I did was play hide and seek with a bunch of kids.
Yes,
and I was like, oh, okay, classic Zelda right here. And the kids, like half the kids were just literally standing out in the open, waiting for me to find them. Like not even hiding.
I know. What? I was just like, wait a second. There's stuff like this. I was like, maybe this is placeholder stuff, but this game comes out in a month. Like, wait, what? You might want to. I thought, we're gonna get to know the village. These types of things are generally like finding the bombers gang in Majora's Mask. You get to know Clock Town. You get to understand the lay of the land there. This really didn't do it at all. You just stay in that one area, as you said, and I think the quest in general, they're not that good. There was one towards the middle about restoring an elevator function, and you had to go up a tower. So it was nice platforming, and there's some parts like that, but in general, for the most part, they just were they're very basic, and sometimes even failed at getting you to explore anything like that. They were very straightforward, and there was just a means to getting the reward, which was gold usually. Which gold is everything. Economy is everything in this game. To buy upgrades to your weapons, like your sword, to buy trait increases, like more strength, to even buy new abilities like the double dash, all require gold and some other resources eventually. And
just cosmetics too and stuff.
Oh yeah, there's if you want to change how you're all of it's tied to that, and it felt early on, I was like, yo, either they're making it really expensive because they don't want us to have access to it, but then later on, some of the dungeon chests, the one you didn't get to play, the payoffs in there for opening some of the chests are like hundreds of coins and stuff.
Yeah,
I was
got some.
Oh, this is great.
Hundreds.
So I kind of would have maybe preferred if some of the quests actually gave you the reward directly. Instead of just giving you gold. It seemed antiquated. It felt a little bit. It felt like this might have been rooted in PS2 era, early PS3 era of those style of games, those 3D adventure games, action adventure games.
Some gave me cosmetics. I think one of them gave me a wig. I helped some wig guy out.
Oh, I must have missed that one.
I got a red wig or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, then that's pretty cool.
Majority of the time it was gold, but there was a few.
The environments felt very open in in a good way, in terms of very sparse and empty.
Yes, a lot of it did feel very empty. It was weird because a lot of stuff's very segregated off from each other. It's like little tiny zones. And sometimes a lot of these zones don't have a lot going on in it. Like, it's not just like a huge open field and that's it. There's obviously trees and hills and stuff, but there's just like not as enough to explore that I would have liked. I was just kind of like, okay, I'm done with this area very quickly, and I feel like I've seen everything in here.
Very good point. Yeah, I didn't feel like...
It felt kind of restrictive, too, in some of the areas. Like, I couldn't jump certain areas. There would be a lot of like, invisible wall kind of things.
Yes, the invisible wall stuff got frustrating because I thought maybe I can go over to the spot and either they put it up because they weren't finished or you just weren't supposed to go over there. It's very linear, I guess is the thing. I thought there might be, maybe after we go to this spot, maybe there'll be... because in 3D Zelda games, they eventually do start to let you go one or two ways sometimes. Like, you can go down this way to a fire area or do it this way to a water area. Pick what you want to do. And eventually, though, you got to do both to move forward. Maybe there's some of that later. There just wasn't any of that present at this point. So it was very, very straightforward, and I don't think... I think I would like to have seen more activities in each of the environments to keep my interest a little bit more, I think.
Yeah. I do like the world of it's very bright and colorful and nice to actually kind of see everything, which is not like good. I actually kind of want to explore, but there's just not, we were saying, like, not enough there to make me feel like, yes. Like, of course it's not going to be Breath of the Wild, huge open world like or Assassin's Creed like that. Of course not. But I could have just gone for a little more. Like, a lot of the towns, there's towns and there's like maybe a vendor there. I was hoping there'd be sometimes some more things tied to each area.
Yeah. Again, it comes back, and we're gonna keep harping on this. The polish. Even the NPCs at points seem very lifeless, like lack of animation on them. They're just sitting there or standing there, not even like moving sometimes.
I mean, I'd say most of things in this game are like that.
Yeah, I feel it just needs a few touches here and there to make the game world feel alive. That's the thing. It felt like a beta. It felt like a demo. It did not feel like this was near being... Like, if this was coming out another year, I'd be like, this is good. They have a lot to build on here. This could end up being something really great. It just feels like this is going to be rushed out, and I'm just very concerned about the reaction to this. But I think this game's been in development for like at least 3-4 years, so I wonder if they just can't wait anymore. I see a lot of awards it got or nominations from Gamescom back in 2017. This game was actually put on the Square Enix Collective to get feedback for that. I saw like early. This looks way better than their original pitch stuff. Like Ari, as she preferred the nickname she goes by eventually, moves like at a snail's pace, even walking in those old videos. So they definitely have improved the animations. They're just not quite there. These would be like passable maybe in the PS1, PS2 era, but I feel like it's not good enough. But I want to talk about some positive stuff. There is some good positive stuff, and I want to talk about the dungeon and the puzzles. I think they have some really good ideas for puzzles here, utilizing your unique abilities. So you can make a bubble around you that is one of the season's powers. So you start off with winter. So you can emit this force field bubble thing around you that freezes everything inside that bubble. Everything outside of it, it's still normal. And you can trigger that at certain points to maybe freeze something to turn into an ice block and push it onto a switch. Or make a previously invisible platform, or maybe it's like there's condensation. It becomes a solid platform that you can now platform across to reach a ledge. Stuff like that is way more interesting to me, and I think that is where a lot of its potential comes from in this game.
Yeah, that was definitely the best part for me, is that mini dungeon I went through. It was very simple because it's the beginning of the game, but I actually had fun going through it, just doing little tiny challenges. I
wish you could have at least sampled the full dungeon, Brad, because you have 3 of your seasonal powers unlocked at that point.
Okay.
So even just to enter the front gate, you have a slingshot now that can shoot pebbles, and you can enhance them with one of the seasonal abilities. And, there are these kind of like these posts that are color-coded, so you got to shoot like a spring and then a summer or fall one. I guess maybe it's summer. You shoot that at the 2 marks, and they illuminate with that color that triggers the door to open. So there's simple stuff like that, but later on, I really, they do something really cool. So there is a part where you need to scale a tower, and it doesn't seem like there's a way to scale it, but there's this obelisk-looking stone structure thing that's floating in midair in the middle of the first floor. And when you hit it with ice, it basically reveals all these. It's like Lens of Truth style. It reveals hidden things in that thing.
Yeah.
But then on one of them, it's 2 towers you got to go up. One of the towers, it's a time sequence where you hit a switch and it starts going up very slowly, and you have to like race up. And as it starts to like illuminate new parts of the floors, you have to figure out quickly how to traverse higher up. So the first one's simple because it makes like an ice stairs for you, but the next part there's just these ice walls and these little ice like icicle things that are just dangling, and if you shoot them with your ice pebble, you can make more platforms. So you have to like make platforms like along walls, like suspended in midair, and you've got to keep running up along with this time sequence. And you'll fail it a few times, you go back down, but I liked it. I was like, oh, I like figuring this out, and this little bit of pressure, this extra pressure on here was really cool. So as I said, I really enjoyed that. There were still some problems with that, where there'd be the camera work in this game is not very good. The camera occasionally will clip through walls, through ceilings, and become obstructed. It gets very shaky at points. It doesn't do itself any favors. And now, understanding that, when you spontaneously create new walls or floors, you can see how the camera work will all of a sudden just like go crazy for a second. And when you're trying to race up, you lose sight of something. You're like, wait, I can't see. Or you get sometimes the ice ability will lock you into a spot because like, oop, it was right above you and you activate it. Oop, now you can't go up anymore. You hit your head. You're below the floor. You got to disable it, then go back up. Oh, it's too late. Or you accidentally disable all the platforms. Like, you got to start over again. So it's part of the learning process, but part of it is a lack of polish again.
Sure, yeah. It sounds like a common theme throughout this game.
They also have the spring ability. There's a part where you have to go underwater. The bubble makes it so like you can breathe and move with normal gravity, like you're just in like a normal atmosphere.
Sure,
and you have to drag an object underwater to keep moving that bubble to safely traverse across the underwater part and reach a part of a platform that's only now you can jump, because when you're swimming you can't get to it. When you can jump up to get it. For some reason they disabled it for that part, I guess. But I mean, there are a lot of clever concepts illustrated here, and I really want to see more of that. I think even in some of the trailers of parts I didn't get to play, they tease a lot of stuff that looks really cool. Again, it's just I don't think this game is anywhere near ready to be coming out anytime soon. It's just so unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm very curious about this game and interested in it, but yeah, I feel like it still needs some time.
It culminates with a boss battle against like this eagle thing, and it's a pretty elaborate sequence. First, you got to do another one of those. You got to make it up a spire, and the ice crystals moving up slowly while you're dodging things coming from the hawk. So it's not just as simple as figuring out the path up. You also, and time limit, you now have someone actively attacking you. Then you ride along with it, and it's dragging an orb that is now making the winter field. And you have to stay within that field to keep the platforms. If you fall too far behind, you'll fall off because the platform vanishes. And you got to keep up with the bird, and then eventually you get to a part where you could cut it off, and it gets angry, and it turns around and decides to fight you. And in the battle, you can influence. It's a firebird, so it's doing fire attacks. But if you use winter, it freezes those attacks and turns them into like icicles, stalagmites, and stuff like that, or ice projectiles. And then you can use some of the other seasons to disable it as well. And I thought it was really clever and crafty. And I wanted to see more of that, and it felt like a good style of fight. Again, some of the animations were off. There would be points where there was clearly a cutscene for the transition. It was meant to load me at the start of the next sequence, especially during the chase part where you're trying to keep in the field. As soon as it loaded me into a fail state, would fade to black, and then immediately do the cutscene again. And I was scared it was getting caught in a loop, but after like 2 attempts, it finally loaded the thing correctly. So stuff like this, it's gonna frustrate people, and it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, hopefully when it comes out, it's a little more polished.
Yeah, again, this feels. I feel like this is a very ambitious project, Brad. I feel like if they just had more resources and had a bigger team, I feel like this could be a one-to-watch type game for sure.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, it's so unfortunate. You see the potential there.
And I feel bad because I feel like this team is working really hard just to even make what they've made so far.
Yeah,
the fact that I thought I read at one point it's only 2 people, it might be more now, but at one point only 2 people were making this. I'm like, only 2? Like, damn. When you judge it in that regard, it's like, this is actually, for 2 people, this is pretty damn impressive. But when you start charging money for it and it becomes a commercial product, I just see the negative backlash that's going to follow its release.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think some people might still be able to overlook some of this stuff and enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's very lighthearted in nature. I think people will like the story and the world. We've been saying that like a lot of the characters you meet, like they do good cutscenes. The voice work, the voice work is pretty good. The cutscenes are very DreamWorks like in their comedy and humor style. I think they're adorable. I think people enjoy them, and the music is really good for this game. I forgot who they got to compose it, but it's really good music. So there's just some parts that are there and some parts that aren't.
Yeah, it's a game I'm gonna keep an eye on, and I might play through it. I don't know if I'll play through it right away, but despite its flaws, I was entertained playing through this game. But I just don't expect anything like groundbreaking or anything like that. It's like a PS2 game, kind of like what you said. That's what it feels like in a lot of its aspects. But if you're okay with that, you can still probably have some fun with this.
Yeah, I definitely, as I said, can see people enjoying it. And again, it is going to be a budget price. It is only going to be, I believe, it's either $19.99 or $29.99. It will not be full price. And again, coming out September 1st, it is coming to Windows, PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's coming on all the platforms.
Pretty much everything, yeah.
I could see this doing well on maybe Switch. People might see it and say, like, oh, this looks like a Zelda game, and they'll just, like, jump on board with it.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know how the performance... It is a Unity game. Unity has been problematic for Switch. Some people have definitely gotten Unity to run pretty well on Switch, but it has been very challenging for some people to get it working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if you're looking for a game that has, just like a unique style, a different type of lead protagonist for a while, I mean, maybe you want to support it in that way. But yeah, it's... Man, I want to love this game. This is the problem. Like, I struggle with this game because, like, I wanted to love it. I saw trailers for it. The trailers made it look really good. And I'm just, I'm rooting for this game despite its flaws. So hopefully it has a happy ending. But yeah, thanks, dude, for going hands-on a little bit with it so that we can talk about it. And I don't know if they're gonna do a public demo or anything like that, but you can go look at all the footage and stuff that we have up here, or go check it out on its Steam page. They have a bunch of videos and stuff on there as well, or go to its website. They have some media there if you want to check out some more from it. And I believe they have a Discord as well. So if you have concerns, you can go on there and talk with the developers and be like, hey, is there any of this? Yeah. Maybe they have some updates that some of this stuff is going to be fixed, but as of now, I have to assume this build is close to what the final version is going to be. Thanks again, everyone, and see you next time. Later.
Bye.